Today on Aqua Kids,
join us as we learn that the physiology of a shark is not much different than humans. See the science behind this in the lab of the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. You do not want to miss this.
Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do. Saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and blue. For me and you. Aqua Kids.
Hannah, I heard there are sharks in the bay.
I thought they were only in the ocean.
Can't they come close to shore and into estuaries?
You're all right. They are in the bay, in the ocean, and they can come close, which is why we're doing some research on them, because who knew that we might have been related to sharks at one point in our lives? We're also going to talk about skates and their vision. You guys ready to start the day?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Before going into the lab, Andrew and I headed out into the bay with the science folks from the Virginia Institute of Marine Science to catch some specimens for study.
So Rich, why do you have us catching sharks here?
We're using them in experiments. We've got several things going. One of the things is to study how their cardiovascular system works, so we're taking blood vessels from them.
What kind of sharks do you expect to find here?
About the only thing we've got here right now are sandbar sharks.
How big do they get?
The adult females will be 6 to 8 feet. They're probably in here, but they don't feed because they're coming in to pup. So we've only seen 2 of those in about the past 10 years. We'll be catching the ones that are anywhere from newborns up to around 4 years old.
So is there anything special about this type of shark?
Yeah, these are carcharodonid sharks. They're of the group that's the most common. They're the open ocean sharks, and there's very few places in the world where you can work with them. They're very rare in captivity, but we are lucky here that by their natural history, they're coming in here to pup and we have access to them.
How often do you get a bite here?
If they're here, we'll be done in an hour.
Wow.
If they're not here, we can spend the day.
I lost him.
So why are we right here in this specific salt marsh?
Well, we're here in this specific spot because there's a lot of tide scour here. So most of these channels are very shallow, but because of the tide, it's dug a fairly deep hole, about 30 feet. And the sharks, as far as we know, tend to be in the deeper spots. So we're anchored over a deep hole.
So what should we know if we catch a shark?
Well, if you get bit, let the shark run for about 10 seconds. If it feels any resistance, it'll spit the hook. Then put the drag on. Put your hand above the reel so you don't drop the rod in the water. And don't try and reel it in. Lift it up and reel on the way down. You're using your rod as a lever.
Got it.
When you get it close to the boat, I'll see the leader or Peter. We'll take a wrap on the leader and either net it and put it into the tank. Then we'll disconnect it, get the shark under control. We'll cut the hook out of its mouth and put it in the tank, and we're good to go. Bail.
So here's the only person on the boat that's actually caught a shark so far. This is Nicole, an undergraduate student at Alabama. Nicole, what are you doing here?
I'm actually a NOAA hauling scholar, so that's a pretty good program. They pay for our schooling and then they also pay for an internship, so that's why I'm here at VIMS for the summer, participating in research with Dr. Brill.
So what is your part in the VIMS research?
I'm working on the skate vision, so we hook up electrodes to the skate's eyes and see if sunlight will blind them.
So what are you finding?
We're finding that sunlight actually doesn't seem to be affecting their vision as much as we thought.
What happened?
Need to take up another line of work. Okay, guys, it's not very sharky today. Let's call it. We got one in the box. We can go home.
On our way back, check this out. A bald eagle. Outrageous.
So how unusual is it to see a bald eagle out here?
They're not rare, but they're not really common. You guys are pretty lucky. I think that's the first one we've seen this summer.
That's awesome.
It looks like they caught something.
It does. Andrew's getting some instructions right now to get the shark into the tank.
He is fast. We're gonna have to keep him around. Must be them big feet.
Now it's time for Aqua Quiz with your host, Drew Cruz.
I'm your host, Drew Cruz, and now it's time to test your knowledge with Aqua Quiz. Sharks are the top apex predator in the oceans. Sharks come in all shapes and sizes, with the average length being only 39 inches. Shark physiology also varies from species to species. Do you know how many gill slits sharks have for breathing? Is it A, 4, B, 5, C, 6, or D, 7? I'll sink my teeth into the answer after the break. Do you know how many gill slits a shark has? The answer is B, C, and D. Most shark and ray species have 5 gill slits running on each side of the head. The blunt-nosed 6-gill sharks are primitive sharks. These deepwater predators have 6 long gill slits on each side of their head. 2 species, the broad-nosed 7-gill and sharp-nosed 7-gill sharks, have 7 gill slits on each side of their heads. I'll have another riveting aqua quiz next week.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids. We're at the Virginia Institute of Marine Sciences Eastern Shore Labs, and we're going to look at some sharks. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guys. Hey. All right, so I just saw Andrew run in here with something under his arm. What was it?
Oh, that was a shark.
What kind of shark was that?
A sandbar shark.
Why do you guys use those specific kinds?
Yeah, well, out in the area around here, they're very abundant. So it's great to use for our experiments because we can readily get them and keep them happy in these tanks here. We've looked at clear nose skates and smooth dogfish, and now sandbar sharks, and that gives us a very diverse look at the scientific category they all fit in, the subclass Elasmobranch.
So then after you get them in these tanks, what do you do with them?
Yeah, so after they're here, as I'll show, we go over there, we dissect them, and we remove certain blood vessels. As it turns out, sharks are a very distant kind of evolutionary relative to people. So in that way, they kind of have some similarities, and we believe that the origins of closed circulatory systems can be found in them, and many organ systems. And as a matter of fact, in your blood, you have a lot of different gases that can regulate how your blood vessels function. And we believe that sharks have those very same mechanisms. So we're going to take a look in the lab, and I can show you how we look at those vessels and determine that.
That would be great. You guys want to see how sharks are related to us?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacob, so this is the lab with the next step for the shark experiment?
Correct.
What do you use all this equipment for?
Well, as mentioned, sharks and people share a lot of biological processes. And, well, one of those is in gases. And that's what we're hoping to see, is we know well that people and mammals have these gases that can regulate their blood vessels. And we want to see, will it trace back that far?
What gases specifically? And are these finding them?
We're using hydrogen sulfide and carbon monoxide. So you'll see in these little baths here, what would be put through are little vessels hung on one hanger above, one below. One is attached to this fixed point, the other to this force tension meter. Flows through this equipment here, and I can see on my computer screen when they contract and dilate.
So what are you guys finding so far?
Well, so far we have found that these vessels are reacting, so we believe that this mechanism did evolve a very, very long time ago, way before us.
So we're using the same process that a shark used in our bodies.
In a way, yes.
In our bodies.
But why is the opening and closing of blood vessels important?
Well, your body has blood vessels in small places, capillaries all over, and your body has to decide where is it going to be sending blood. So say if you just ate, it's going to send it to your digestive tract. If you're running, it's going to send it to your muscles.
So it's safe to say that your studies have found sharks use this process hundreds of millions of years ago. We still use it today. Therefore, it spanned that entire length of time, and we must somehow be related to sharks.
That's correct.
Jacob, can you explain to us a little bit about how this all works?
Of course. So inside you'll see that little blood vessel connected to that anchor point on the bottom. Then on the top there, that hanger is connected to a force transducer. So when the blood vessel contracts, it pulls on those two hangers. That will travel through all this equipment here and show up on my computer. It's kept alive kind of in a solution there that mimics the plasma of shark blood.
So the vessel is still alive even though it's outside the shark?
Correct, and we could keep it alive in that solution, add in what we'd like to experiment. Let me show you on the computer here what the data looks like.
Great, okay.
So the information travels here to my computer, and you can see the data from what's happening right there, over there in those vessels. Here is where I added hydrogen sulfide, And you see it constricted, and that's that spike right there. So that means if that was in an animal, downstream, the blood flow would be restricted.
Okay, so it's time to figure out what we've learned so far.
We learned that sandbar sharks use Virginia's eastern shore as a nursery.
We also learned that sandbar sharks are great for research since they're so abundant here.
Our heart and blood vessels are closely related to sharks.
Don't go away. More with Aqua Kids right after this.
The giant otter, also known as the river wolf, is the largest member of the weasel family. They can grow up to 6 feet long, although larger specimens have been reported in the past. Most have dark chocolate or reddish-brown fur, and like our fingerprints, markings of white fur on the throat are unique to individual otters. The giant otter lives in social family groups from 3 to 8 members led by a dominant breeding pair. They do everything together as a cohesive unit. They are territorial and will be aggressive towards other family groups. This amphibious creature's diet is comprised mainly of fish. However, the giant otter has been known to eat small anacondas, caiman, and other small mammals. Found almost exclusively within 2 protected regions of the Amazon, this neotropical mammal has been poached to modest numbers for their velvety pelts. Find out what you can do for the giant otter and other apex predators on our website.
Want to keep up with our adventures? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Welcome back to Aqua Kids. Let's skate on into the tent and see if the boys are doing their work. Doesn't look like it.
Come on in, guys.
So Nicole, what's going on here?
This is where we keep the skates. It's nice and dark in here so that their vision isn't affected by the sunlight.
Okay.
It's okay to peel that back?
Yeah.
All right.
So they're right under here. They're clear nose skates. That's what they're called. And what we're doing is we take them into a room where it's nice and dark, and then we shine really bright lights in their eyes, basically simulating sunlight, and then we see how that affects their vision.
Have you found anything so far?
So far, all we found is that skates are really kind of hard to do any experiments on. Their data is like all over the place, but it seems that their vision isn't affected.
Huh. So now that you know that their vision isn't affected by the light, what determination can you make?
Well, when they're hauled up as bycatch in the scallop fishing industry, we can determine that they're not affected at all. They don't have to worry about when they throw them back in, will they live or not, because they can still see.
So Nicole, what are those things at the bottom there?
Oh, those are skate eggs. Skates, they don't give live birth, they lay eggs. So we have males and females in here, and they'll lay their eggs.
So what do you do with those now?
We'll take them out into the bay and we'll release them.
Oh, cool. Well, can we take a look?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna reach down here and grab one.
Don't get bit.
So Nicole, can we go back to the lab and take a look at what's inside?
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Drew.
So we'll probably see a skate embryo in here. It's about 3 weeks old because that's how long we've had them in the tank for.
Awesome.
How long do they stay in that stage?
It's a wide range from about 4 months to a year.
Wow, interesting. So I see in there that they have some type of yolk sac in there. What is that?
It's basically what provides them with nutrients to be able to survive until they're able to hatch and feed out in the wild.
So if you were to cut open that sac, they wouldn't be able to survive very long?
Nope, they would not.
So back in the tank, these were attached to the aerator. What are they normally attached to in the wild?
Well, they'll attach to either a piece of coral or part of an oyster reef or even maybe a stick lodged in the mud.
Okay.
So when you release these guys back into the wild, what are you going to attach them to?
Probably a brick that will sink to the bottom.
Have you ever done it before?
No, we have not.
It's groundbreaking research right there.
Why don't you take a closer look?
All right. Wow, you can really see the baby skate swimming around in there. That's so neat. Drew, take a look.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Nicole, eventually, how do they get out of the egg case?
Well, the case will weaken and split open and then they can escape.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys, let's go release them.
All right.
Hi, this is Selena with Eco Defenders. On today's episode, we're speaking with Jules Trace, the Director of Youth Division and Convention Coordinator for the Ian Somerhalder Foundation. She's here to tell us what they've been up to. Hi, Jules.
Hi.
So who is Ian Somerhalder and what is the Ian Somerhalder Foundation?
So the Ian Somerhalder Foundation, and we call it ISF, is a passion-driven movement organization whose mission is to empower, educate, and collaborate with people and projects to make a positive impact on the planet and its creatures. The Youth Division is for anyone 17 and younger who wants to get involved with goals of informing and encouraging the rising generations to take action and inspire hope and create change for our planet. Our founder and wonderful president, Ian Somerhalder, is a global activist, inspirer, and an actor. He was on the television series Lost, and right now you can watch him as Damon Salvatore in the hit TV show The Vampire Diaries.
Why was the organization created?
Ian is genuinely one of those souls who was born to make a difference, and so after he saw the devastating effects of the BP oil spill, he knew he had to immediately create action to try and prevent disasters like that from happening again.
How many youth members are involved and what are their roles in the foundation?
In every component that ISF gets involved in as a whole, there's a kid or teen involved helping to make it happen. Right now, we have hundreds of community crews literally all over the world in dozens of countries, so the number of youth involved is immeasurable.
Have you seen a difference in the lives of active youth members since they first started working with ISF, and if so, in what ways?
Nobody cares about where you live, your race, your gender, your sexuality, what sport you play, how much money you have. It's this authentic group of friends that help each other and they form their truest selves, all with the common goal of impacting their futures. And to me, honestly, there's nothing more inspiring than that.
How can other kids get involved?
We offer the opportunity for kids that aren't volunteers to still be involved with their written parents' permission by writing articles for us, things that they want to create awareness about, teach others about. They can create fundraisers. We've had some really cool fundraisers that the kids have done. They get their friends, their families involved. We spotlight their talents and their projects on our website and on our social media. They are equally a part of this enormous movement as any adult.
Yeah.
So if you want to get involved, you absolutely can.
What message would you like to leave with our viewers?
ISF is sincerely made up of the kindest, most motivated and driven group of humans I've ever met. If you want to get involved, just do it. Never be afraid to talk to us. In fact, don't let fear hold you back from anything you want to do in your life or anyone you want to be. But definitely don't let it hold you back from talking to us and getting involved. Come to us, tell us your passions, let's get started together. We're always open and available. We want more volunteers, more people to share with us what they love. You're gonna love it.
Thank you, Jules, for speaking with us today.
You're welcome.
It sounds like the Ian Somerhalder Foundation is definitely making a difference in the lives of youth around the country. This is Selena with Eco Defenders. Now back to Aqua Kids.
Wasn't that amazing? Okay, now it's your turn. If you or someone you know is doing something remarkable to help our planet, let us know about it, and you could be our next Eco Defender. I gotta go.
Drew here. Join us next week as we head out to Sandy Hook Bay in New Jersey to monitor fish populations using sonar and trawling.
I'm Jalen, and this is Earth Edition. Sharks have been around for 400 million years. In the ocean's food chain, they are at the top. As predators, they haven't had to evolve that much over the last 150 million years. There are over 400 types of sharks, ranging in size from 6 inches to 45 feet. Sharks prefer to eat alone on a diet of fish, dolphins, seals, turtles, and seagulls. As carnivores, or meat eaters, their teeth are sharp and pointed, and when they lose a tooth, it's just replaced. Certain sharks can grow up to 20,000 teeth in their lifetime. Movies and the media have given all sharks a bad rep as dangerous predators, where in fact, only a few present a danger to humans. Humans, on the other hand, kill thousands of sharks every year for food, products, or for sport. Sharks are critical to the ocean's ecosystem, so the more you know about them, the more you'll come to appreciate them. However, as with any wild creature, it's best to keep a safe distance from them and avoid them if you're in their company. Wild things are not pets. I'm Jalen, and this is Earth Edition.
welcome back to Aqua Kids.
This was a great experience for me. My wife is in marine science education. She was the education director at the Waikiki Aquarium for 20 years. So public education is very important to me. I get it from her all the time. So getting a show out like this, to getting it out to the public, where the younger audience can see our research and the importance of what we do and inspire kids to come into this field, it's great. Aqua Kids is a good vehicle for that. I was happy to participate.
It looks like the guys are ready to release their skate eggs, but before we let you go, what did we learn today?
We've learned about sandbar sharks and how they use Virginia's eastern shore as a nursery.
We learned that skates have very light-sensitive eyes, but bright light isn't detrimental to their vision.
Aquatic species are important to research because it can teach us about our past.
Remember, it's up to you to keep it green and blue. Help protect our planet, and we'll see you next time on Aqua Kids.
Bye!
Okay, off to the boat.
All right.
Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do.
Let's do it.
Saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and blue.